Hi, so welcome to Unfiltered Us. I'm Carron,
I'm Rob.
and this is a place that we like to have meaningful conversations about life, parenting, challenges.
Relationships and everything that comes to our mind.
Yeah, so we invite you to come and share the next bit of time with us, and we hope that you'll enjoy this conversation.
And if you haven't, please subscribe to our channel. We're just growing everything, so we're happy about everyone who's joining us in our conversation. Please leave a comment below. Let us know what you want to hear, what we should talk about next, and leave your comments about how you feel about what we're going to talk about.
And we thought we would talk about love languages side.
Love languages and an interesting video that we just recently watched from a guy named Kenny Weiss about partners who are more attached to materialistic things than to other values.
Exactly.
And I think it all goes hand in hand. So, yeah. Please join us.
Cheers.
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 Yeah, let's start about love languages. So, you do the intro about that part.
So, love languages are the way that you express and feel love. And so, I think what's quite interesting about love languages is that sometimes the way you express love is, it can be mismatched to how your partner feels love. So, you might think that you are showering your partner with love because you are, for example, giving them gifts, when really your partner's love language is that they like quality time.
So the fundamental principle is that different people have different love languages.
Exactly.
And they have different ways to express their love towards their partner.
Yeah, and how they feel love, right? Or how they feel loved in a relationship.
And if the love languages do not match, and people are not aware of that, that might be a problem in a relationship.
Exactly. It can lead to a lot of unhappiness and dissatisfaction in a relationship. So
frustrations,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So the 5 main love languages are quality time. So that would be like spending time together, where you feel like you're connected. Maybe it's going for a nice walk together, or maybe it's going on a trip together, or maybe it's having a conversation together, but it's really just about quality time together. And then another love language is words of affirmation. So that's like, somebody telling you how wonderful you are, or how much they love you, or what they find special about you, what they appreciate about you. And then another one is acts of service. So that would be like, making a meal for somebody, or running an errand, or blocking a drain, or fixing your computer, or something along those lines, something practical, right? And then you also get giving and receiving gifts, or so that might be a way that somebody shows their love, or somebody feels loved, is by receiving a gift. And then the other one is affection and like physical touch. To be honest with you, I think I'd put sex in that category as well, because I think sex and physical touch and things like that probably go together. So, yeah, super interesting to sort of understand a bit better, like how you feel loved by somebody else, and also how you show love to somebody else.
And the whole concept is based on a book by, what was the name?
Gary Chapman, I think.
Yeah,
Gary Chapman? Yeah, it's called The 5 Love Languages.
It's a very interesting book, very good to read.
Yeah, and it's actually a short book. I mean, it's pretty...
Yeah, it's quite a flimsy little thing, but but the concept is quite simple, but I think it's quite powerful because and I think we've all experienced this in our relationships in life, where you think you're doing everything right.
And you think you're showing the person that you love them, right?
And then, exactly, you're showing the person that you love them. And then you hear from your partner, well, you're not loving me because X, Y, Z, right? Or you're not, not even because it's essentially just you're not loving me, or you're not showing me affection. And then you say, well, wait a second, I'm doing all these things.
Yeah.
And then you hear like, well, but it's not really what I care about, right? What I would have been expecting is this and that, right? And that's the typical situation where you have a mismatch in your love languages and a mismatch in expectations about what love looks like, right?
Yeah,
At the end of the day.
absolutely. I mean, for me, like my love language is very much like words of. I would say like physical touch and affection would definitely be high on my list. And then quality time, actually. I think quality time and affection are probably the two highest things on my love language list. And it was so interesting because I realized that my ex-partner, you know, I mean, he was a great guy and he was, but his love languages were not that. And so his love language was, you know, the way he showed me that he loved me and that he cared for me was through acts of service. So he would always be happy to fix my computer or do something around the house or, you know, do something in the garden or, you know, and he was very, very concerned about like mine and my daughter's safety and security, you know. So he was very much like the protector and the provider. And so that was how he showed us he loved us, or showed me that he loved me, you know. And I really had to make a conscious decision to notice that and to sort of register, okay, that's how he's showing he loves me. Because
Oh, Jesus, he's
he died.
on in time again.
He loved chopping onions.
I do.
I know you do. But yeah, so that was quite interesting for me. And certainly, like, I would want to spend quality time with him and, you know, have a deep and meaningful conversation. And that was not what he wanted to do, you know. And so, yeah, and I think it can lead to a lot of misunderstandings in a relationship and a feeling of like sort of dissatisfaction, you know, where you sort of, you know, you're just feeling like your needs aren't being met, right?
Yeah, and it's it can be quite frustrating for both sides, right? Because it's not that there's one person who's in the right and the other person is in the wrong.
Yeah.
It's literally not speaking the same language.
Exactly.
And if you have these mismatched expectations,
It's mismatched love languages, yeah.
Mismatched expectations as a result of mismatched love languages. Both could be trying their best, so to speak.
And thinking that they're showing the other person how much they love them, right?
And still getting nowhere, right?
Yeah. So what's your love language? I think I know, but...
Well, you tell me.
I think yours is definitely like affection and physical touch and quality time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think yours are the same as mine, which is maybe why it's like why I feel so loved by you, and I hope you feel the same, you know?
No, absolutely. And when I experienced this in my previous relationships, where, you know, for me, it was always super important to have, like, physical connection was always super important for me, right? Because physical connection for me was not only about the pleasure of sex, it was about showing affection to the other person, right? So for me, sex is a form of feeling connected to my partner and of showing that and making love is literally, as it says, like it's making love. It's showing that affection, showing the connection, living that connection. And I had not one but several partners, and that includes my last partner, where she just wasn't. It just wasn't her language, right? Her language was different, and so that led to me constantly feeling rejected, right? Because I didn't get my.
Didn't feel like you were being loved, right?
I didn't feel like I'm being loved.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I wasn't giving my ex-partner the the love that she needed, which was in that case more the side of gifts, right? And I remember having a conversation after the war, while we split up, I don't even remember that, where she said, well, you never cared about me anyway, right? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, I brought you flowers like three times a week, and I did this for you, and I did that for you, and she said, well, but you never even bought me a Rolex once, right? I was like, well, what does that have? Does that have anything to do with love?
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, I mean, it's a nice thing, and but it's not like an.
It's like you would think that that's the ultimate display of the fact that you loved her.
Exactly right. So it's not that I never made any nice gifts. It's more like I made nice gifts because I think they were nice gifts.
Yeah.
And they're fun, and like giving a nice watch away to someone or some nice bag is something nice. But like, it's a nice thing, right? It's a nice little toy or whatever. But it's not that I would associate love with. No, the value of love with the price tag.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've had several relationships, and I seem to, for whatever reason, maybe it's an interesting thing to discuss, why I tended to fall for these kind of women.
I think it's part of being a nice guy. I think it's like you want to be generous, and you want to like. I think it's a generosity thing, and I think it's. And it's the nice guy thing, and I think people can, I think some people can spot that, and they can sometimes abuse that in many different ways, but yeah.
Yeah, and also
I think the way that you see it most is in the physical gift-giving type of element. I mean, I know about one of your previous relationships where you gave her a credit card and she kind of just went wild. Not just once, right? But repeatedly. And it just amazes me that you let her get away with that. But
well, like, money's not that much of a concern at that point. Yeah, but it's interesting how these mismatches can then result in both partners being super frustrated while no one is at fault. And so my question would be, if we could talk about what could you do to overcome this, right? If we both know, okay, we have different love languages. And maybe before we do that, the interesting thing is oftentimes that doesn't immediately materialize, right? It often materializes kind of later in a relationship.
Yeah. I think in the beginning, there's so much of everything, right? There's lots of affection. I mean, like, think about it, in the beginning of a relationship, there's lots of affection. There tends to be a lot of sex. There tends to be a lot of hand-holding and kissing and, all that kind of affection. And so while that might not necessarily be your default, often in the beginning of a relationship, there is a lot of that. And there's often a lot of gift-giving, right? It's like, you take, and there's a lot of quality time. So you're taking the person out for dinner, or you making an effort to spend time together. And I think often in the beginning of a relationship, kids are not necessarily part of that relationship. And so there's a lot of like quality time where it's just the two of you. It becomes your own little world and your own little bubble. I think one tends to neglect one's friendships and all sorts of other relationships at the cost of that.
Absolutely.
And like acts of service. I mean, I think also in the beginning of a relationship, one's quite happy to go out of your way to.
Yeah, you're just more involved into making the other person happy, right?
Absolutely.
It's like you spend more time together, you prioritize differently, you invest more, not only time, but also financial means probably. You go, whether it's investing into going out for dinner or making gifts or doing something special together.
Or nice
or buying those handbags or watches, whatever it is, right? And so...
so maybe there's just more of everything in the beginning.
There's more of everything, exactly right. But then after, months, years, however long it takes, when, just you get into the
life,
the repetitive
Yeah.
parts of life,
work,
kids,
etc.
work,
Yeah.
less time, stress.
Yeah.
It's in these
Then
moments
one's
where
probably going to then sort of default to like, if you still love the person, right? You're going to default to sort of whittling it down to the two ways that you think that you're showing the person love, right? So
Yes,
maybe it's
yeah.
acts of service. So maybe it's like, okay, I'm fixing stuff around the house and I'm fixing your computer, and maybe I,
a little greater.
you know, and maybe I show you a bit of affection, right? But so, and in the meantime, the other person's got a totally different love language, and they then just end up feeling completely neglected.
Yeah.
You know, or when things get financially tough, I think that's really challenging when the person's love language is gifts, you know, and when the material gifts are not as extravagant or not as regular, or those fancy trips away or the spa days or the whatever are not forthcoming because there's no finances, then that person's left feeling like they're not loved and not appreciated. And I think that's also really, really difficult.
Yeah, and that's how discussion started, because we discovered... That's fine. It's like, you can do the rest.
Don't break your fingers.
Exactly right. Don't have those fingernails. Let me just quickly put the beef in.
I think I should do some more ginger. What do you think? Should I do some more ginger?
No, I think it's fine.
I think so. Okay. I love ginger. So let's put the noodles in or not yet?
Not yet. Mix the sauce.
You need some spoons. Some like tablespoons or anything.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't weigh all my measuring spoons on.
I'm not measuring. No, just mix the spoons. Sorry.
What's that?
No, just mix it.
Spoosh. You want a little whisk?
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
So we found this video about this guy called... Kenny Weiss.
Kenny Weiss. Is that Weiss?
Oh, Kenny Weiss, exactly,
Weiss,
yes. Kenny Weiss. Great guy.
The most beautifully dressed
Amazing. So we're going to link to his video in the description. And Kenny, if you're ever watching this by any chance...
We loved your show.
We love her dressed. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
With so much wisdom, right?
Totally dress up it all the time.
I think you should start wearing like suits with like a little...
Well, the thing is, like with cooking, it's not exactly...
I mean, you do dress like that when you're going to go and give a...
Well, sure, yes. But not at home and not while...
Not while cooking.
Well, not while cooking for sure. But so, and he's a coach which focuses on healing trauma in relationships, healing, partnerships, relationships, addressing challenges.
We had some really great descriptions about relationships in terms of like your choice of relationship is like your choice of pizza toppings. I love that. I just thought that was so great because he's just like saying like there's no such thing as the wrong kind of pizza, right? You can have any toppings you like on a pizza.
Yes.
And he was saying that each person needs their own pizza toppings, right?
Correct.
And what I really liked, I don't know if you saw the video, but what I really liked was that he talked about how like your love languages are like your pizza toppings. So like, if my love language is, acts of quality time and affection, and so that's like, for example, me loving a prosciutto pizza, right?
Yeah.
And maybe your love languages were completely different, right? So maybe yours were acts of service and gifts, right? For argument's sake, I mean, they're not. But if those were your character or your love languages, then your pizza topping would be like more like a vegetarian pizza topping, right? It's not to say that one's better than the other or one's different to the other. But then how do you land up sharing a pizza?
Yes, exactly.
You know, and so he's saying like you should really discover like what is your love language, and your love language often stems from your childhood and from perhaps from childhood trauma or from your childhood experiences or just your life experiences to date. And so to understand what your love languages are, and then to find somebody who loves you the way you want to and need to be loved. So to identify what kind of pizza toppings you want. I just thought it was such a great analogy. I really like that.
Yeah. And so we found this video and I sent it over to you, which was a short, YouTube short, where he talked about how certain women can only be made happy with gifts. And so that was the whole video. So where if you don't give them the gifts, you don't give them the love, but at the same time, you cannot expect any kind of interest, any kind of emotional connection from these women, because that's not their language. And so then we started watching the full video, and it was super interesting.
So interesting. And he talked about how so often women who equate, where they very strongly feel that like gifts equate with love. He was talking about like, and from a very compassionate point of view, he just said that so often women who identify with that, so often they've had some kind of trauma as a child where they didn't feel validated, they didn't feel seen, they didn't feel valued for who they inherently were, right? And so, and the only time that they felt validated or seen was when they received gifts. So maybe it was birthdays or Christmas, or maybe it was parents that were absent, but would shower them with gifts or give them a credit card or...
So essentially it was an external form of validation.
Exactly.
And that's what they learned to find their meaning, their appreciation in, right?
Exactly. And also he talked about how, I think inherently we as humans, we actually are looking to be seen. We're looking for that validation of who am I as a person, and you want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to feel like you are important to your primary caregivers and to the people that you love.
Especially as a kid, right?
Especially as a child, I mean, I think for everybody, but especially as a child. And so he talked about it, how it's a protective mechanism. So they didn't get that, and so they protected that, and they withdrew. They sort of almost isolated that part of themselves, and they simply put all the value on the external gift giving and the material things, because that's much easier. You can't be vulnerable if you're not exposing that inner part of yourself, So super, super interesting. And about how then all of their feelings of love are then associated with the gifts that they receive.
Yes.
And so when they're not getting gifts, then they feel like they're not being loved. And at the same time, their relationships are very transactional. And, once again, he talks about pizza toppings. He's like, it's not wrong or right. Some people, for some men, for example, it perfectly suits them to have a woman who is only interested in getting gifts, because that man then doesn't have to invest time and energy in an emotional connection and having deep conversations and how was your day, darling, and what are your deepest feelings and your deepest fears and your deepest regrets?
Like any kind of emotional stimulation.
Yes.
And it was so interesting because I, essentially for everything he was talking about, I could think about some examples either in my own life or from friends or people close to me. And that was one of the examples where I have a good friend, not going to name his profession to just make sure that his identity is being protected, but he's a very successful guy in his field, now married to the fourth or fifth time. And we had some interesting discussions about partnerships and how I was always looking for someone who can give me that intellectual stimulation in my partnership, right? And that's kind of the challenge in these discussions that we are having, for example. And he said, well, he was never interested in that. All he wanted, literally, was a woman who, looks good, is this kind of trophy wife. And he said, look, I have more than enough stimulation in my day-to-day business. have enough discussions in my daily business. I don't need to come home and have another round of discussions.
Intellectual
I
conversation.
want someone who looks good, who I can go out with, can have great sex with, and that's all I care about, right? And that's exactly that's kind of, there's no...
So it suited him to have...
It suited him, absolutely.
To have that kind of relationship, right? Yeah, so it's so interesting to just understand it from that perspective. And I think and what I really liked was also like his total lack of judgment about it. He was just like, you can't blame the woman for looking for those gifts and that external validation. The reality is that they never got the internal validation. They never got that feeling that they were worthy of being loved just for who they were. And so it's just a protective mechanism. And he just said, like a woman like that is unlikely to change because it would require so much work and so much healing of that inner trauma, and it's so much hard work, and so maybe better to just have a partner where they completely accept that and they're quite willing to have that kind of relationship. But he certainly said, like, if you're a person or man who is looking for a deep emotional connection, or you are wanting a different kind of, he called it a sort of a more traditional kind of relationship, like where you're wanting that connection, you're wanting that feeling of being seen and heard and truly loved for who you are in a relationship. He just said that you shouldn't go for somebody like that.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing that I found so matching was he also talked about the relationship between those specific kind of, often mostly women, and animals.
I know, that was super interesting.
Yes.
Listen, I think you can't generalize. There might be a correlation there, but not necessarily. It's not like a one-to-one relationship, right? But anyway, you say what it is.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so carry on about what he's seen in terms of this.
Yeah. So what he's seen with this kind of character type is that often these are women, mostly women, who form an attachment to an animal. And the reason they form the attachment to the animal, it's because it's very transactional.
Well, no, I think what he was saying, that the relationship with the man is very transactional, but he said that the relationship with a pet can be completely one-sided. So he's saying like the woman doesn't have to give the pet emotional.
Correct. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Doesn't have to have deep, meaningful conversations. Doesn't have to spend quality time with the animal. Doesn't have to even be affectionate to the animal or anything like that. And yet that animal, that pet, if you think about a dog's always happy to see you, right? And a dog will always be there for you. You can have neglected it for 3 days and not taken it for a walk and not given it any affection. And if you suddenly now, say to the dog, come sit with me on my lap and cuddle me and let's go for a walk or whatever, that dog will be so happy, right? So dogs love you unconditionally and will give you that sort of feeling of comfort, even if you've totally neglected them. And so that's the great thing about a dog, is that they've got no expectations of emotional intimacy, and they will still always give you love and affection. And so when a woman is looking then for love or that feeling of like a bit of like a sort of like a comfort, then rather go to a dog or a pet for that than get it from a human. He said like
that also the priority that the partner has in that relationship will always be with the animal.
Yes.
And not with the partner, because essentially she's getting the emotional relationship or the emotional comfort or whatever it is from the animal, not from the partner. So the partner will always be second,
like the mistress to
like the mistress, exactly, second line. And it was so interesting because we had some friends Again, very wealthy people, very transactional relationship, right? So he was showering her and everything, and she would just always complain about not having enough and not getting more gifts, and always demand the most expensive stuff.
And it was also never enough.
It was never enough. Of course, it was never enough, right? That's also quite typical with these kind of
Relationships
of personalities, that you can't, like, there's always room for more, right? And that kind of can spiral out of control, as I've seen myself a couple of times in my life. What was so interesting was that person, was just being spoiled by her husband, and she was absolutely crazy obsessed with pets, right? So they had 2 dogs, several cats. She was.
Buttons.
I'm actually not sure if they're gonna.
Okay.
No, I think they're gonna. Nah, let's leave them out there. So she was literally paying tens of thousands a year just to support animal shelters, which is great, but it was
To the extreme.
to the extreme. And so this person was essentially doing everything for her, and she would often publicly say in front of other people, you are my number 3 in life.
Oh, wow.
Because my number 1 is that dog, my number 2 is that dog, and then maybe the cats, and then there's you.
Unbelievable.
And I found that so
It's cool, actually.
cruel in a way,
Yeah.
almost absurd, that this man would do everything for this woman. And she would, in front of other people, which I always found very insulting and very humiliating, talked about preferring
Her pets,
her dogs, literally over him, right? Over her husband.
And I mean, I think you once told me that she once was so concerned about the dog dying, and was like her feeling was that she would be suicidal if her dog died.
Yeah, well, we literally had a suicide attempt with her after one of her dogs died.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so it was actually a real situation.
No, it was literally a real situation. And yeah, she was just completely obsessed with her animals and financials.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, after hearing what Kenny said about the topic, that she had exactly that kind of childhood where she was never valued for anything. Her father actually committed suicide relatively early in life. But her only affection was coming from money and from
gifts, material things.
And material things, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was quite eye-opening for me, especially also since my last relationship definitely had a lot of these characteristics and themes, and at the end of the day also broke up because of that, right? Because what I also found so matching was, it's these relationships work perfectly well as long as you can
the supply of gifts keeps coming.
Exactly, as long as you can keep the engine running, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the moment you're getting into some
Looks like Asian spaghetti bolognese.
Which it is in a way. A different name for it, but don't ask me. It's like a wing recipe. But yeah, to come back after our many disruptions. Apologies for that.
So you know what I find also so interesting is that, to me, if I look at how you described your previous relationship, to me, you were doing so much because there were so many acts of service. There's so much.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. And I know that you also inherently a very affectionate person. You do a lot. So there's a huge amount in terms of acts of service, and you also, I know you love spending quality time, and so if I listen to you talking about that previous relationship, there was a lot of that, and so it kind of never made sense to me why your relationship fell apart. But in that context, as soon as things got tough financially,
Yeah, but like,
that was really the trigger, right, for when things started falling apart.
exactly, right. So for context, so last year was a bit of a year of rupture in many different regards,
Yeah, it
with
was.
some troubles in my business and all other kind of things. It's probably a whole other topic in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so soon after my business started to, well,
It's a long. It's a long.
it's a
topic as
long.
well.
As soon as I was booted out of my own business, the trouble started, right? Because then
I think there was the threat that financial
stability or financial
was threatened, right?
yeah, exactly.
And I think that she thought she better look for another golden goose.
Yes. Sorry, I don't want to make any. I'll try. Any suggestions? But definitely, let's say it was at the very least, it was one of the major reasons for the eventual breakup. Yeah, because as Kenny said, it's once the gravy train stops, things become difficult, right? But yeah, but I really liked what he was saying, and I really liked his approach.
So delicious.
It's good.
Delicious. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Good.
That was a really interesting perspective on it,
Yeah, his perspective, and that he's very. I don't want to say understanding is probably not enough of a word.
I think that there was a lot of compassion. Right?
Compassionate. Compassionate was the word I was looking for. Compassionate about it, because I said, look, it's these people, like we all are. We are because of our past and our previous relationships and our previous experiences and traumas. And if that's how you learn to find comfort, and that's how you learn to find love, and that's your love language for whatever reason, there's nothing to be judged about it. It's not
right or wrong,
good or bad.
Yeah.
It's not right or wrong. It's just a different love language. And so for everyone who is with a person like that, you just have to
keep working.
Yes, keep working, that's for sure. And also to understand and to think if that's what you want to provide or not. And or find a partner that speaks your language. Or find a partner that speaks your love language at the end of the day, right? And same for the other person, right? If you're someone who is driven by material gains and finds love in getting gifts and being pampered, there are people looking
people that
looking
are
for that.
Very
like,
happy to have those kind of relationships.
as I just said before, like I know people who were actively looking for that. And you might be very negative about it. It might say, hey, well,
it's like no judgment.
that person was just with gold diggers. But he's like, I absolutely 100% know that those are quote unquote gold diggers.
But it's transactional.
And it's a completely transactional relationship, right? It's I give them money, I feed them money, they feed me what I want, whether it's sex, whether it's
look good on his arm.
They look good. They don't make any
demands of me
emotionally, right? They don't
time or
they don't want to be smarter than I am. That's perfect, right? So there's no right or wrong, no good or bad. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
To wrap this up, since our Asian beef something noodles are ready,
looks delicious.
Very interesting video. We're gonna link it in the description, and
let us know your experience and what your love language is, and
we'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next video.
If you haven't, please subscribe and spread the word. Really would help us to grow this channel.
Thank you.
Bye.